This is despicable.
Hello, sir. Sorry to disturb you at this hour. I'm a doctor inquiring about the epidemic. May I come in?
A doctor, you say? No, thank you.
All right. I shan't insist. Goodbye for now, sir.
And off to church he goes, a newborn seeking divine consent to lick the blood from the soft and pointy crown.
Who are you? Make yourself known.
Newborn, you reek of guilt and pointless compassion. Shed your skin, forget your old weaker self.
What do you want from me?
Ascalon does not approve of lone wolves who bring unwanted eyes to our pastures.
So your name is Ascalon?
Ascalon's will is vampire law. Learn them, abide by them, or I shall return as your judge and jury.
These immortals try my patience with their plans and unsolicited counsel.
I have this thirst for blood.
This is despicable.
This man stunned me with his faith. His crucifix. This is not good news.
Good evening, Mr. Whitaker.
It's Father Whitaker, my son. So, are you still lost in your rational delusions?
Have you recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
That woman is as depraved as Jezebel, and she deserves the same fate.
Really? Why is that?
This woman runs no medical facility, but a temple to the false prophets of science and debauchery. And she has many accomplices, I heard.
I have found Samuel, your disciple. I am afraid I have bad news.
I already expected the worst. He should already have come back. He is dead, isn't he?
Yes, he is now. The epidemic took him.
Samuel steadily made donations to our cause. He would have rewarded you himself if you'd found me in that awful cemetery. Please accept this money.
Don't you fear getting sick yourself?
I've been touched by God's grace. I am perfectly healthy.
I have had enough for tonight.
Look the other way this week, Joe. Come on, we can sort it out, right?
It's not my call, Barrett. You paid one way or another.
Please, Joe.
This district's in...
Good evening, sir. Do you remember me?
You're... If for a reward, you'll be sorely disappointed. But I'll gladly shake the hand of a fellow countryman.
I'm not here for a bounty. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed from the Pembroke.
A doctor? In Whitechapel? What an opportunity. My name's Bates. Cadogan Bates.
Do you require assistance, Mr. Bates?
Not me, but your skills could help a lot of people round here. That would help my business, because I say a live tenant's a paying tenant.
It's unusual to see someone so happy around here, especially considering the current situation.
Why should I be sad now? There've always been wars, disease, tragedy. There always will be.
That's an unusual way of seeing things in these trying times.
I don't see why I should shed a tear for another man's woes. I'm healthy, and I intend to stay so.
What is your business, exactly?
I offer fair lodgings for a modest price to the poor and weary of Whitechapel.
I see. And what about those who cannot pay?
Well, deals can be done, if you know what I mean. Money's not the only currency. After all, I'm not immune to a pretty face.
You obviously place yourself above the misery of Whitechapel, but you are as repellent an individual as I have ever met.
Begging your pardon, I thought you was a man who could appreciate the complexity of the modern world. Things ain't just black and white, you know.
What help could I possibly be to your business?
That's simple. I already get good money from all those fleeing the war. Can you imagine what they'd be willing to pay if I could offer medical assistance too?
Mr. Bates, do not make me regret saving your life in this quarantine zone.
I understand, Dr. Reed, you're from a good family. Don't want to get your hands dirty. That's fine. I'll be happy to act as your middleman.
I've no interest in money. Perhaps one night I will visit you and take what I require. If that should happen, there will be no need for a middleman.
So it's a no, then. That's too bad. The Reed tonic could have really helped people, you know, save lives. Isn't that what you do? I mean, people buy that Swamber's shit.
Tell me, What's your honest opinion of the increasing violence in London?
People are just beginning to discover what we've always known. This city's rotten to the core. They just took their bloody time to wake up and notice it.
What do you mean?
People are acting like the violence is news. But it's always been savage down here. It just bubbles to the surface every now and again.
You seem to have recovered well since your attack. Do you ever think about what happened to you?
Not much. It was a fucking nightmare. Savages, absolute bloody savages. Their appearance. Jesus. It made me want to puke.
You'd better not come back here. I won't be around next time to save you. Have you heard anything about Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
Not really.
Why am I not convinced?
Maybe it's because you lack faith. Being a skeptic must be useful for a man of science.
A man such as yourself, knee-deep in the muck of Whitechapel, must know more. Speak now.
Yeah, thanks to Nurse Crane's dedication, these foreigners keep coming to Whitechapel, and my lodgings welcome all.
So business is booming.
More than ever. Hope Nurse Crane's dispensary does nothing but flourish. More money in my pocket in the end. Not really.
Goodbye, Mr. Bates. Mr. Bates.
Evening.
Since I took an oath to help people, can I be of assistance?
Well, seen better days, that's for sure. But it was bound to happen with all these refugees about.
Infecting you is probably the last thing on these people's minds. Take this, in any case.
What? You give me this for free? Don't have a clue about this place, do you?
Goodbye.
Maybe it's time to see if this Christine was...
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again.
Working nearby. Who distributes
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid.
You are blinded by your lost
Good evening.
Change.
Could this be the scarf you lost, Miss Popper?
It is much more than a scarf to me. It is the only thing that connects me to my family and my country. Thank you so much.
What do you know about Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
That woman is a saint. She's living proof that a strong will is sometimes all you need to make a difference.
Clayton Darby claims he will expose the crisis in Whitechapel to all of London. Do you believe him?
I believe Clayton's courage will erode with time, until he finally leaves Whitechapel to start another fight somewhere else.
Why this skepticism?
How can you speak about starvation if you've never been hungry? Or about poverty? Or anything else you have never suffered from?
Are you talking from experience?
I've seen your type come here to get a good fuck in a cheap room or a dark alley before going back to their fancy houses in the West End.
Christina, have you been examined?
I don't...
Do you need any...
Your money?
Goodbye, miss.
How am I supposed to interview? Good evening, Doctor.
Have you any news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
I'll never know what goes on in that place. But as long as people are getting better, I'll stop investigating her.
Christina Popper claimed...
Of course I do.
Do you think...
I believe the situation... I've had...
I'm...
Really?
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Good evening, Doctor. Can I help?
Do you need assistance?
Save your time for the people who...
Goodbye. Good evening, Mr. Nithercott.
And good evening to you too, my good sir. Can I be of any help?
Do you need medical attention, sir?
It may be wise to let you prescribe me something. I don't feel like I should.
I understand your appetite for words and macabre beauty, sir. But you should be more careful.
The nutrition of my mind is more important than my physical health. But I appreciate your concern, sir.
Did you know the Mute Florist is a member of a secret society?
No, I didn't. But I thank you for this information, sir. For it only enriches the mystery surrounding the precious camellia.
Are you not curious? Is there not more you wish to know?
That girl has not an ounce of malice in her. Whatever she may be hiding, it's certain to be for the benefit of most, if not all.
I fear you are a hopeless romantic, Mr. Nethercourt.
Guilty as charged, Dr. Reed.
Did you know that...
No, I didn't.
Tell me, Mr.
The place is not beautiful.
Have you recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
I don't know much about the woman.
I'll leave you alone, sir. Good evening. Mr. Nethercourt.
And good evening.
I'll leave you alone, sir. Hello again. Camellia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Tell me about Richard Nethercourt. I understand he is quite fond of you, Camellia. Hello, Camellia. How are you, partner? Come on, girl. Smile. Don't you know Dorothy and I have an agreement? We're on the same side. No? All right then, as you wish. I know you... Very well. Hello again, miss. You don't seem to need my med... Very well.
Yes? What is it that you want?
I'm sorry to disturb you at such a late hour.
No worries, my son. I'm still quite awake, having just returned from a funeral.
Yes, I know. I've forgotten what I wanted. I don't know.
May I help you, child? You seem somewhat perturbed.
I haven't the strength to cross the threshold. I wish to pray, to cleanse my soul.
The church is shut by order of the bishop. But I'm still the vicar of St. Mary's, if that is any use to you, my son.
You seem to me a good soul, Vicar. But this is a personal matter.
There are no secrets from God, my son. If your heart needs comfort, consider me your chapel. For I can be as silent as stone.
I've made myself perfectly clear. This is a private matter.
Your eyes burn with rage, yet I see the pain that lies beyond. I am here to lighten the burden of all God's creatures. Whatever you tell me is between us and the Lord.
Very well, priest, as you seem quite adamant.
Open your heart, my son. Tell me what burdens you. With whom do you wish to speak?
Just know I cared for her.
You seem so troubled by the loss of this girl. What happened to her?
She has been laid to rest. That's all you need to know.
I see. And how are you feeling, my son?
I feel responsible. The pain is consuming me.
I have a final question for you, my son. This is of the utmost importance.
Ask your question, Vicar.
What would you like her to know?
I'm so sorry, Mary. I promise to find who is responsible for all this. I'll put an end to this horror.
You have been heard, my son, and your burden will lighten if your words are sincere. Go in peace now, and live your life in the way she would have wanted.
Whatever happened on this dock is between my sister and I. It does not concern God at all. I cannot enter.
I ordered that!
Remember you.
Fear be gone. I would harm no child of my making.
This is your doing. You made me this creature. What are you?
I am the land. You are our champion.
You selected me, chose me.
As shall my children yet to come.
What is it you seek?
This age is sickly. An ancient poison, an older rage, brewed in a cauldron newly forged.
This has something to do with the epidemic.
Seek truth, my champion. Defeat the serpent of knowing with iron spur.
I've had enough of others making decisions for me, pretending to know how I should feel or behave.
So the vampire who made me is some sort of disembodied entity? Or was he just projecting this vision in my mind? Maybe Edgar can help me with this one.
It's locked, all right.
God protect us. You've got a leech in the hospital.
Yes, my hospital. My mission is to heal while you go about warring.
You've set the table for a snake. I wonder why there's venom in your food.
I'm growing tired of your song. You're a woodsman, McCallum, not a doctor. Return to your hunt.
Remember, I've a good nose for machinations. I can flare the scent at a mile. You can't hide from the god.
Leave him, Jonathan. This is sacred ground. Neutral territory. And I just had the carpet cleaned. By the sacred stole, this is very bad news. Bad news indeed.
What happened?
The hospital has been attacked. We have injured patients, at least one dead and several missing. This has spiraled out of control. Even the most infirm are asking to be allowed to return home.
We cannot have the people lose faith in this institution. This hospital is their only hope.
Of course, you're right. But we cannot afford a public scandal. It would ruin us. We must restore order, and quickly.
You mentioned a dead patient. Who is he?
She, Jonathan. She was Miss Harriet Jones. I found her room like a slaughterhouse. Blood everywhere. The duty nurse is taking care of the mess.
Very well. I'll help you.
Jonathan, please. I can't rely on anyone else. And this concerns you as it involves vampires. Someone has taken advantage of our more liberal tendencies here.
In what way?
Jonathan, I may turn my head when you or her ladyship indulge, but I will not allow this place to become a nest for street feeders.
Please then, tell me.
Sean Hampton, the man we thought we'd saved at the docks. It seems he was infected after all.
So Hampton became more beast than man.
Exactly. And now Guard of Pre-Wen suspects the hospital of vampire activity. Do you realize what that could mean for us?
Well, they are not far wrong. The hospital is almost crawling with vampires.
McCallum is a fanatic. The Guard will stop at nothing. You don't know what they're capable of, Jonathan.
Very well. Since I brought Mr. Hampton here, I will put an end to this. If you don't mind, I have a few questions.
I'd be delighted to help you if I'm able.
I just recently met the strangest creature in Whitechapel. He was immense. He mocked me and accused me of hypocrisy.
Perhaps it was a skull. London's streets are overflowing with them these days.
It was a vampire, all right. But what kind, I'm not sure. He was large and very fast.
If you find anything more about this creature, the Brotherhood would greatly appreciate any information you could spare.
He was observing me with the obvious intent to do me harm. His very presence evoked a palpable sense of menace.
You need to be careful, Jonathan. You've no idea what this creature really is.
I recently tried to enter a church. It has been a very unpleasant experience.
The Brotherhood's research on the matter of faith and vampirism has proved somewhat insubstantial, to say the least.
Is this proof that I'm cursed in the eyes of the divine?
The wrath of the Almighty? There's no way of knowing. It could be subconscious guilt, or irrational fear, or deep-seated beliefs.
It's hard to explain in terms of science, that's for sure.
I'm sure Lady Ashbury will have far greater insight into this matter than little old me.
What exactly happened here while I was absent?
Hampton turned, quite violently as it happened. Lurking about, attacked Miss Jones. To say he created quite a commotion would be an understatement.
Are you sure it was Hampton that killed Miss Jones?
There was blood everywhere, but no body. And you know the state she was in. I fear for what he did with her. Hopefully he just hid the corpse.
How did the Guard of Prewin come to hear of this?
McCullum has spies everywhere. He will jump at any opportunity to disparage the Brotherhood and show his contempt.
Who was that man in your office?
Geoffrey McCullum, actual leader of the Guard of Prewin. I suspect he's the man behind the rebirth of this old and dusty society.
They know I'm here now, don't they?
I understand your need for blood, and will not get in your way. But if you could refrain from feeding within these walls, it would go a long way to defending your case.
What do they hope to achieve?
Their ultimate goal is the eradication of all vampires in the country. They see you as a threat to mankind, Jonathan.
Thank you. If you...
I'd be delighted to.
Thank you. Sean Hampton lives and breathes for the well-being of his flock. There's no other place he would go but the docks. Good evening, Miss...
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Is there anything you can tell me about the recent commotion here?
Many things can happen under cover of night, Dr. Reed. But I took no part in this massacre.
But did you see or hear anything?
I can't say I did. But the smell of fresh blood almost made me faint, Doctor.
Tell me, Thelma. What do you really know about vampires?
I saw one and he saw me. I watched him hunt and kill. I saw his terrible wounds heal as his victim died. And then I knew I was saved.
You mean you actually saw a vampire? Here in London?
Yes. And it has been the answer to my pain. I must drink and kill to regenerate my decaying body. I am a vampire too.
You have no idea what problems your claim could cause if heard by the wrong people, Miss Howcroft. You must stop this nonsense now.
Why fear the truth? Strange things live in the dark, Dr. Reed. Strange and ancient beings that were here before this island even had a name.
Tell me, Thelma, you mean you actually saw a vampire? Here in London?
Yes, and it has been the answer to my pain. I must drink and kill to regenerate my decaying body. I am a vampire too.
You have no idea.
Why fear the...
Tell me, Thelma. Do you require...
I have no need for your medicine, Dr. Reed. Blood is the only drug I need.
I'll leave you. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Everybody's afraid. Death has always been a frequent visitor. But murder? How can we cope with that?
As a nurse at this hospital, it is your duty to deal with these things as best you can.
Yeah. Until it's my turn to have blood spread all over the walls. I entered the room first, Dr. Reed. I've seen what that monster did to the woman.
Do you need med...
I'm fine, really. I just need to sleep.
Goodbye.
I'm quite busy right now, Doctor.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Nothing like this would have happened if we'd had enough staff and proper shifts.
So you don't think the blame is ours?
We all hold fast here, Dr. Reed. Our methods may differ, but we are all trying to make a difference.
Tell me,
Strickland,
are you think...
Harvey
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
Knowledge has always been and will remain our main weapon. And it has always come at a price. And personal initiative.
It is not a question of initiative. It is a question of integrity. These men and women have put their faith in us, Dr. Reed.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. Thank you for your...
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Do you need my assistance?
Not at all. I'm sure that you are used to get...
Thank...
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Tell me what you...
She-Man?
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
It's a disgrace. How on earth can patients be attacked in their own rooms?
Do you...
I have other...
Good evening.
I'm okay.
Why did your...
My mother...
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
I had shouting coming from the first floor. I was asleep when it started.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Do you need...
Thank you, Dr. Reed, but you...
I have to...
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening.
Please, tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital.
I heard Miss Jones call for help from her bedroom. There were some loud noises, like people fighting. All of a sudden, it went quiet. And then a nurse started screaming.
Do you know who the nurse was?
Not sure, but I think it was Nurse Hawkins.
Is there anything...
I'm all right.
Goodbye for now, Mr.
Oh, sweet girl, this shift never ends. Reads me like a book.
Good evening.
And good evening.
Can you tell me anything about the recent commotion in the hospital?
I'm sure it was not your fault, Dr. Reed.
My fault? What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. It's just... I heard it was you who brought the murderer inside our walls. But you couldn't know, could you?
Do you need my medical attention, dear colleague?
You don't have to worry about me, Dr. Reed. I am here to assist you, not to be a burden.
Tell me, Thoreau, what's the real cause of your dislike for Dr. Ackroyd?
He refuses to admit that your blood transfusion technique is the only way to save Mr. Fiddick. I'm convinced we must use it.
What Dr. Ackroyd really said is that you lack the skill to perform this operation efficiently. Is there anything you have to say about this?
It's a false conceit. Dr. Ackroyd secretly envies your reputation. His jealousy blinds him. I'm not the real target here.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior, a man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
What do you think?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded.
With the...
I believe that...
So you believe...
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud...
Do you need...
You don't have to worry about me.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
I'm sorry you ended up on my plain and cold medical bench, sir. I understand you must be very angry about
this. It's locked.
Situation. I managed to arrange to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife. I hope that might help. Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
Can you tell me anything about recent events in the hospital?
Oh, goodness me. This whole story is such a shame, sir. I have no idea how it happened.
What are you talking about?
Poor Miss Jones. Her body is missing. Someone stole it.
Miss Jones's body has gone missing.
Yes. The body was brought here this morning, and now it's gone.
Who could have stolen a corpse?
That's exactly what I asked myself for the whole day. Who could do such a thing? These are terrible and shameful times, Dr. Reed.
Do you need medical attention?
I'm feeling all right, Doctor. But perhaps it is because I, too, am used to the smell of the dead.
Please.
Of course.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
What can you tell me about the recent events in the hospital?
That Mr. Hampton killed Miss Jones in her room, then ran away.
And did you see all this?
No. I was working by the tents when it all happened. I only entered the room when they asked me to clean up the blood.
Where is Miss Jones's body?
I don't know. I'd imagine the morgue. It all happened so quickly.
Did you see Sean Hampton leave the hospital?
I think I saw a silhouette exiting the hospital gates after the shouting started. At first I thought it was someone who was just scared, but... well, maybe it was him.
Do you require medical...
Thank you for your...
I'm not familiar.
Brilliant professionals. Most of them.
Most...
It would be...
Goodbye, nurse. Good evening.
Evening.
Can you tell me anything?
Before the shouts and the noises, I think I heard whispers coming from the stairs. 2 voices, maybe more.
Did you recognize the voices? What did they say?
I couldn't hear. Sounded like they were arguing or something.
Soldier.
I'm fine. Just do...
Goodbye.
You disgust on every street corner.
What on earth happened here?
Overwhelmed.
Good evening, Dr. Tibbets.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Can you tell me anything about the recent commotion in the hospital?
It's a tragedy, pure and simple. The hospital is meant to be a safe haven to all. We failed the people who trusted us with their care.
Do you think I should not have brought Mr. Hampton back here?
It's not your fault. You rescued that poor soul. It was the Christian thing to do. But we should have noticed his instability.
Do you need any med-
Come on.
Goodbye, Doctor. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Someone killed Miss Jones in her room, and Mr. Hampton's gone missing. Doesn't take a genius to piece it together.
You don't seem shocked by any of this.
Why should I be? Whoever did this must be long gone by now. And besides, he got rid of the old bag.
Are you...
And why?
But you're not...
You keep people...
Tell me why you're extorting money from some of the patients here.
If a patient wants a bed, he'll have to pay me a little fee. That's all.
Where did you get the idea for such an immoral scam?
Funny you should ask. The first time it was from a patient who bribed me to get a bed. It's only then I realized I could make a fortune.
Admit it. Nurse Hawkins is more than your lover. She's also your partner in crime.
Of course she is. How else could I tell which bed is free? I need to know that.
Have you no shame?
Don't you see the city is crumbling down? Today people are ready to pay to get a hospital bed. Tomorrow we may be fighting for food.
Do you need a...
I'm fine, Doc. Physically, at least. But I would give everything to be in a better place right now. Wise choice, Doctor.
Oh, Jonathan, I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman, butchered by some savage scowl.
Yes, and I'm afraid I'm at least partially responsible. The man, the scowl, I brought him here.
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent. For there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought he was going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Is this a sign? The hand of God in action? Are we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan. But I believe superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
Have you embraced this woman, like the other patient, this Mr. Renfield?
Her name was Amelia. And no, I did not kill her. I vowed a very long time ago that I would never take another life, unless they ask.
Is there sufficient vitality in the blood of the sick and dying patients?
Yes, Jonathan. The hunger gnaws at me every waking hour. Frankly, I'm starving.
Temptation surrounds us. Rich, vital. How can you resist?
Over the years, any pleasure I once gleaned from feeding is long gone. I drink for sustenance. And though I still thirst for more, I restrain myself.
Thank you, my lady.
Another night with the glorious battalion of Vampr.
We have no effective treatment for this. We are.
It's locked, all right. It's locked.